Welcome, everybody, to the 11th edition of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. My name is John Fisher, and I'm nobody's boss. I am my own boss. No one can tell me what to do anymore. Our intro was fucking awesome.
What a coincidence. I am also my own boss.
Are you now? That's good. That's good. Anyway, we're here. Sorry if I'm delayed. I'm doing something. I might seem disinterested from what Brad is saying, but that's only normal. And I am playing WWE 2K16, which we're going to talk about during the show. But first, my second favorite segment behind the one that I created, the What the Fuck tweet. Oh, yeah, I know. How about that? The What the Fuck tweet of the week. Last week's was visual. It hurt a lot of people. It was, as you say, offensive, slightly offensive. But, you know, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I figured if you were a young teenager or younger, you may be offended by that.
Oh, they're okay. They're fine. They're fine. So what is the What the Fuck tweet of the week?
All right, so our What the Fuck tweet of the week is brought to you by @ProudCaucasian.
I'm gonna assume that's something to do with the Caucasian Kamala hashtag that's been going around.
No. It's just like it sounds. It's just like it's spelled normally. But the Proud Caucasian is also known as independent wrestler Money Matt Cage, who I have to admit I'm a fan of. So I follow him on Twitter. Cage tweeted, quote, "These motherfuckers doing hour-long YouTube video shows reviewing wrestling shows can go suck their own pitiful fuck. Drink piss," unquote.
I think he was drunk. What? Well, no, honestly, no. What was he? The true nature beer drunk Ric Flair? What is Matt? The nature beer drunk Matt Cage? I think it's a fair justification for what that tweet didn't really make sense.
Are we? But we're not an hour-long YouTube show that reviews wrestling shows, are we? Are we?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We're
not.
We're an approximately hour-long podcast that can review anything in wrestling.
Yeah, he must be talking about Meltzer.
Oh, but see, I like Meltzer.
Oh, I love the Meltzer. I kid.
Without Meltzer, we wouldn't be where we are today. Truly, he's the one that started the dirt sheets. Love him or hate him, he's the one that did it.
Yeah, so basically, if you're not familiar with Matt's Twitter, the handle is even hilarious because he's a black dude, but his Twitter is always entertaining. I would definitely recommend you give him a follow. So
I already did.
There you go.
Well, too bad we're on audio podcast only, or else I'd prove it to everybody. So that is your What the Fuck tweet of the week, sponsored by idiots everywhere. Not all the time, but most of the time. Moving on to a video game that, that I enjoy. WWE 2K16. First, let's go to somebody who isn't the biggest video game player, and that is you, Brad. I'm a video game connoisseur. I stream on Twitch. So I know my stuff, but for you, you're taking more of the objective pattern, and I kind of want to hear your analysis on it without actually being a big gamer.
I was going to say I have a Twitch. That's really all I know about Twitch. But I am actually a PlayStation fan. I have a PS4, although I don't get to play it as much these days.
Because you're a dad and a husband and important things,
Yes, I am. Yeah. I am very important. So
that's not what I said.
We all know what you meant. We all know what you meant.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, you never put yourself over. Hell to the no. Why would you?
Okay. So, yes, this gives me a good opportunity to tell you my story. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So for my birthday was October 3rd.
I remember. Wait, I don't know that. Happy belated birthday. I didn't get you anything.
Well, there you go. You just got me something. Thank you. So, as a present, I got WWE 2K16. I actually get the game every year on PlayStation.
Okay? Did you? Oh, cool. We need to play some. We have to play.
I play PlayStation. I play Madden, NHL, some MLB. I play it. Yeah, I have some games. I just don't get to play it a lot anymore. But I always get. There's a few games I always get every year, particularly Madden, particularly WWE 2K. So I got the gift for my birthday. And the thing is, it was released on the 27th. And as we tape this is the 28th. So
Yes.
Yesterday. And so it was supposed to arrive yesterday in the mail via FedEx.
Yeah.
Only when I got home, and I was excited to get home to play it.
Oh, that's... Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You tweeted
probably
about
saw my Twitter.
I remember.
I did. I did. I've been hot all week about it. Okay. So the game wasn't there. I proceeded to call WWE Shop. And I said, where's my game at? Where is it? It's supposed to be here. This is my birthday gift. I've been looking forward to this not just all day, all week, last week. I've been waiting for this. Okay. So they proceed to tell me that FedEx didn't update their system with their orders, and so it's been sitting in the warehouse and has not left the warehouse yet.
I see. Before you got into that whole diatribe, I was going to say that John Laurinaitis picked up the phone. Hey, kid, it's a budget thing. We're not going to get your game this year. You know.
He probably read my tweets and said, "Don't give him the fucking game."
Yeah. Well, that or if Bob Ryder was the middleman between WWE and FedEx.
Ryder. What a piece of work he is.
I know.
Okay. So I gave a FedEx a tweet, and they responded back, "Oh, I'm so-and-so. I would love to help you, and just email me the information, etc." So I had an email interaction with the gentleman who worked there, and all he did was provide me the exact information I already received from WWE Shop.
Wonderful.
I will receive the game in 2 to 3 weeks.
What?
Yes. 7 to 10 business days is when I will get this. And I said, well, it was supposed to be here today, so that's not really acceptable because it was your fuck up. It was supposed to be delivered to my house on the 27th when it was released. I could literally drive to the store down the road and buy it right now.
Why didn't you? Honest to goodness, why didn't you?
It was a birthday gift and paid for, so that is why I have not done it.
Okay.
It has been tempting.
All right.
So that's the deal. And there's no rush shipping. There's nothing they can do.
No, see, why didn't you say I want my money back or I'm going to go buy it from somebody else? Because, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of things to do aside from, taking care of one customer, but they care. Trust me, I was in sales. I get it. The customer's always right.
Apparently not.
Well, they're idiots. They truly are. Because you should have used UPS. FedEx sucks. And clearly that's out into the open. So you have no review for the game. You put the game's review into the agenda, even though you haven't played it yet. So
just to tell my story, because I'm pissed.
I know you are, and everything's going to be fine, I swear. I think Brock Lesnar's free. He can meet you in the corner. So let's talk about, with his big red dick, let's talk about my experiences. Let's talk about, maybe we can do the figure 12 on Brock Lesnar. And I was up, so
boy.
Here's my reaction to the game. I think it's great. And that's pretty much it, because I'm, like I said, I stream on Twitch, and I'm a huge gamer. I have since I was a little kid. My first system ever was a Super Nintendo, and I've been playing, I'm 22, so I've been playing for about, 20 years. And
mine was an Atari.
Was it? Well, you're old. So, sorry. Party's over, Grandpa, to take another breath. Anyway, reverting back to what I was saying, I've been gaming for a long time, and I have a really strong opinion about video games. For WWE especially, because they put out some shit. Let's be honest here. Not all of the games have been spectacular, but this one,
2K15 sucked.
It was
not a fan.
It was mediocre. Mediocre, I would say. It wasn't terrible. I'm a CM Punk mark. The showcase mode was fucking awesome. But other than that, it was okay. The career mode was all right. But my impressions of this game already. Before I get into my review, my rating, if you will, let's go to 3 popular outlets and to see what their ratings were of the video game. IGN.com, an 8.3 out of 10. Metacritic, 7.9. So that's very good for Metacritic for sports games, especially. Metacritic's tough son of a bitch. The GameSpot, a 9 out of 10. So overall, it got really good reviews, and I think 2K in their second year have finally been able to do with what they wanted with the game without anything from THQ and who WWE worked with prior to that. The career mode and I just started the career mode. Honestly, I'm looking at the title screen right now. It's fun. You get to pick right off the bat. You want to go for the NXT Championship. You start performing at the Performance Center. It looks fun, and that's all I want is a fun game. And on top of that, the Stone Cold Showcase mode is excellent. The graphics are great. It's fluid. There's a lot more moveset encounters and reverse back and forth sequences in game. And on normal mode, it's somewhat challenging. Unlike normal years where you can play on the expert difficulty and dominate each match. This year, the AI is a lot better, and it's fun. And I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with this game. There's also been Create a Title is back, a lot more matches. There's outdoor stadiums finally, which is great, and it's exciting. The only criticism of the game is there is no 4 horsewomen, but Eva Marie is in it, which is fucking bullshit. I'll never let that go.
Well, that's the reason I wanted to play it so quickly.
You're being serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious. I want her to go for the gold. I'm going to win the championship at WrestleMania with her. She's going to do the sliced bread, and she's going to pin Rollins, and that's it.
I think it's sliced red. Oh my God! Why have they not come up with that? Because that should be her finishing move. And if it's not, it's horseshit. Because that's fucking clever.
You better trademark that.
Sliced red. I should and tweet her. I have your new finishing move name, Sliced Red, because she trained with Kendrick. Oh, it's so perfect. I should be working for them.
Well, you need to step up your ass kissing a little bit.
I don't like to kiss ass. I do have chapstick though right next to me, but oh well. I get chapped lips. I'm kissing too. All right. Well, overall, Brad, whenever the hell you get it, you will enjoy the game. It's a lot of fun. I do enjoy it, and I can't wait to get started with the career mode tonight. Whenever we get off. Anyway, moving on. Hell in a Cell. I don't want to know what your reactions are because I'm sure you hated every bit of it. But before you tell me how correct I am, let's go match by match. So we saw the team that Creative forgot versus Team European. And we were both right, by the way. Ding, 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 ding. There's my makeshift bell sound. Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville won. I still have yet to see the match because I got home late from work, and I heard Cesaro was a star, which is positive news.
Yeah, I didn't care about this at all.
You didn't even.
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
No.
I employ you to do one thing because I am your boss, which we're both bosses and have no boss. Cesaro, fucking no, I don't care. I'm stuttering. Cesaro was brilliant in the match. I recommend you watch that just for him. I know you're a Cesaro fan.
Yeah. Have you seen his nipples? Those things are ginormous.
I know. It reminds me of somebody else's nipples I saw last week. So,
I mean, you can literally put them on a pan pizza and serve them.
Pizza Hut or Domino's or Papa John's, that guy right there.
Well, whoever delivers in 30 minutes or less, he seems to do that every week on TV.
Try 3 minutes or less. Yeah, I sing. Okay. So,
but Rusev, who was in this match, was actually injured during this week's SmackDown to the point where they had to stop the match and announce Neville as the winner, and now it's being reported they think he has a torn bicep.
Is he becoming the Kevin Nash of WWE because he gets hurt so much? And I hate to say that as a joke, but I'm being really honest here. I mean, guy with a lot of talent, not getting the luck isn't going his way. Let's start now. His fiance blew his push. That was not a blow, kind of mention.
Not the kind of blow he wanted.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets that enough. And then you go and you tear your bicep, which I hope isn't true. They haven't confirmed that specific.
That's a serious injury.
It is. That's 8 to 10 months recovery.
Yeah.
Depending on the tear, of course. Because if it's a partial tear, you're looking at 2 to 3 months. But like a severe tear, like what Triple H and Kevin Nash and Cena have been through with their torn ligaments, you're looking at almost a year.
Well, yeah, unless Cena hooks him up with his doctor.
Yeah, the doctor of thugonomics. That or Goku from Dragon Ball Z, who knows? So, yeah, that match was okay. Didn't really care, but Cesaro was really good. Moving on. I'll let you do this one.
Alberto Del Rio made his return to WWE and defeated John Cena in the U.S. Open Challenge to become the new U.S. champion.
Let me guess, you hated it.
Well, okay, so I like the re-signing of Del Rio. I'll say that. I enjoyed his work in Lucha Underground. He had a lot of passion in Lucha Underground with his matches, very high energy, did very good promos, much better than his previous stuff in WWE. So essentially, they kind of parted ways due to cash and creative, no hard feelings involved. And
wait, hold on. Oh, you're talking about Lucha Underground. I thought you were saying right. WWE. I said, no, he slapped somebody. Okay.
Yeah. He was with Lucha. They couldn't come to terms on cash and creative. And I'd actually been told he didn't want to put someone over on season 1 of Lucha Underground. I believe it was Phoenix, but I can't remember. But there was a to-do around that. So there was just cash and creative, and nobody can compete with WWE. And TNA had actually made him an offer at one point and wanted Big John Gabork wanted to make him the top star in TNA. So now he's making $1,450,000 a year downside guarantee in WWE, and with a reduced schedule.
Well, there is news that came out today of what he's actually making. Do you want to announce that? Little tidbit.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm not listening. What?
Clearly.
Oh, do you think 1.45 million is enough?
Are you kidding? I think when that information gets out, and it was reported by Dave Meltzer, I think that information is going to cause a lot of problems in the locker room.
Why, though? Because he's more over in 2 nights of being back than more than half the roster.
Well, yeah. I mean, they intentionally did it in the California market. There's a lot of Latinos, so it was very tactical. It's smart, but, you're going to need to see other areas of the country before you can say that.
Would you rather have had somebody else come in and win the title?
Absolutely.
Who?
I felt like they missed an opportunity to push a younger NXT talent in a big way. It could have been anybody. It could have been Tyler Breeze, who just came up with the main roster.
Ziggler. And could have been no. Ziggler is the perfect guy for Breeze. Want to know why? Because
they're 2 blonde guys, right?
Well, because they're both good workers, good mic workers, and on top of all that, Ziggler will never be a main event talent because fuck logic, and Breeze needs someone to help put him over, and it looks like Ziggler's going to be that guy.
God damn, he's too short.
And he's boring and doesn't speak Swiss.
What about Baron Corbin or someone like that?
He sucks. I'm sorry. I hate him. He's
okay. You may hate him, but they missed a big opportunity to take anybody from NXT and make a future star here. And that's what they should have done, in my opinion. And, I don't like the pairing of Del Rio and Zeb Coulter.
I think it's intriguing, to say
it's confusing
a little bit.
Okay. But let's just be honest here. This was done as a rib on Del Rio's firing from the company last year.
Of course it was.
So you got the anti-immigrant, anti-Mexican Zeb Coulter, and he's now pairing up with the Mexican wrestler, and so the whole deal is Vince McMahon's probably having a fucking giggle over it in his office. But it was, I think it was done just to appease a 70-year-old man. I mean, there's no explanation for it. It's just, not a good pairing, and it's, I don't know the benefit. He doesn't need a manager from a non-kayfabe standpoint. You look at what a manager does for you and that kind of thing, and he doesn't need a manager, so there's no reason for the pairing.
No, but it gives Zeb a reason to be back on television, and Zeb is likable. Well,
but they're a heel team. They're supposed to be a heel team.
But they're not. They're a face. I don't know.
Hey, how worried were you when Zeb Coulter came out at first? Did you think it was going to be Jack Swagger?
I would have marked the hell out. That would have been hilarious. I'm sorry, that would have been funny. I would have laughed my ass off.
That would have been a massive disappointment.
Well, of course it would have been. I would have liked it if Heath Slater would have came out. That would have been fun. But oh well, they hate Heath Slater. I think Heath Slater's great. All right, so the match was pretty good too. It had a nice ending. Moving on. I mean, what? Yeah, what?
It was interesting. I mean, right? It was a very short match. I think it was like 7 minutes, something like that, and it ended very suddenly with his little, kind of super kick to the face in a seated position.
Yeah, and then Raw.
It's something he's never beaten an opponent with. And so you've had Cena on these open challenges, kicking out of everybody's finishers. And then he takes this move, essentially, that nobody's ever lost to, and he just pins him clean in 7 minutes. So, it was kind of, I think it fell flat in that regard. But also at the same time, you needed to get a strong win over Cena, so I understand that. But why not have him, especially if he's going to be the heel, have him take Cena out and injure him. If he's going to be out 6-8 weeks, injure the guy rather than just having him lose and he just disappears off camera.
Do you hear me? You just heard me punch my desk because I'm upset. I'm upset because we're not talking about Kevin Owens and Ryback. What a segue. I know. Tell me about it. The match was all right, honestly. Del Rio and Cena, it was okay. All right. Well, and by the way, I think that they're going to be able to have Del Rio use that as his finisher now. And on Raw, he did an even different finisher to win.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe he's the guy that wins with non-finishers. What a gimmick.
Well, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's less predictable, and winning with different moves is something different. So that's a good thing. It's just, the first time he does it, it's going to fall flat. So whatever.
Yeah, probably. And we're going to get to Raw a little bit later in the show. And when we're talking about the hit or miss segment. But let's talk about what could have.
Kevin Owens.
Yes. I love Kevin Owens, but what the hell? Putting him on before the main event is just a kick in the dick.
Well, this match was like 5 minutes long.
It was.
I think this match and was it the Cena match? Or a couple of matches were cut shorter than probably anticipated, but they wanted to make sure that Brock Undertaker had time. But it was what it was. It was not a great match. It was, the right guy won, and it's just like I'm glad it's over with. Ryback's contract is actually up soon as well.
What, 1 year, right?
I
think it's another year.
I don't know. I thought it was sooner than that.
It's definitely within the next year. So by the time October 20th, 2016 rolls around, he might not be here, and I hope he's not. I hope he's with Global Force Wrestling. Moving on to what we both got incorrectly. The New Day beat the Dudley Boys to retain the tag championships, and I think I know the reason why, but I'll let you decipher the match because I'm sure I agree with you.
Yeah. So for me at this point, I think the window on the Dudley Boys winning the tag team championships may be over.
Because
I think they've quickly become a nostalgia act that's worn thin, and frankly, I hope the feud has ended. The Usos are set to return soon, possibly within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the Usos return as faces. They will face the New Day in a feud for the tag team championship.
You're right. But
of course I'm right.
Shut up. Should the Dudleys have won?
If they were going to win at all, they should have won last pay-per-view or this one. They, like I said, they're nothing more than a nostalgia act that's worn thin already at this point. They're just going to apparently put teams over, and it's just nothing special anymore. So it is what it is.
I mean, I still enjoy seeing them, and I won't stop, enjoy seeing them. So as long as they're around, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan as well, and they're a very decorated tag team, but they lost that momentum. That momentum they first came in with in the beginning is now gone.
I wouldn't say that just yet.
I would.
I would. Are they still getting a pop? Yeah. Is it a nostalgia pop? Sure.
Actually,
but they are. No, they are. They're still getting pops every week. And if they're not,
their pop was very weak on this show.
Well, let's be fair. The crowd wasn't hot the whole time.
Well, you can't be hot for someone, a team that loses all the time.
Well, maybe if the booking... Never mind. I'm not even going to finish that statement. So Charlotte defeated Nikki Bella in a match I was extremely impressed with.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me?
Is this April Fool's?
No! So you're telling me the Alabama Slam was not impressive on the ring apron. That's creative. I haven't seen that. Actually, I haven't seen that ever, which is good. I like to see different. I think Nikki botched that big spot at the end, but nothing was Charlotte's fault. And Charlotte's a great wrestler, one of the best in the company. I don't know. How would you have booked it differently? Not have the match. Yeah, have Charlotte versus Sasha. Sure, I agree. But, I mean, you have to give credit where it's due at some point. Nikki Bella did improve. She did.
She botched. Charlotte botched.
Hold on. When did Charlotte botch?
Okay. So the very ending sequence.
That was Nikki's fault.
She screwed everything up. Was it Nikki's fault she couldn't even hit the spear correctly?
I thought you meant the big spot on the corner. No,
that was one of them.
No. That was not Nikki's. That was not Charlotte's fault.
Charlotte's a sloppy worker, and she's regressed. Her work in the ring has regressed.
Maybe it's her. Okay, maybe she needs a better opponent. Which, yeah, to your point,
Nikki Bella outworked her.
I don't know about that. That's
I do.
That's pushing it.
I do.
You think?
I do. I do.
No. Okay. Why did Charlotte have so many good matches in NXT, but she can't have good matches now?
Well, that's asking kind of like why John Cena's had so many good matches this year.
Well, all right, that's a whole separate argument. Cena's actually a good wrestler.
I don't know about that. I mean, he does a lot of things very well, but let's not act like he's Bret Hart or Kurt Angle.
Well, look, I've always been under the impression that it takes two to tango. Well, rightfully so. Well, all right. We're gonna enough about the women because we're gonna have a long talk about the women, especially one of them. Roman Reigns defeating Bray Wyatt. I love this match. I love the ending. A lot of great spots, and it's set up for what happened on Raw. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, I thought this was the best match they've had to date. Actually,
I do too. Yeah,
I think the feud's probably over for now. Though Bray did mention on Raw later that he wasn't finished with Roman. But for now, I think it's over. But yeah, they had a kind of a slow-paced, strong match. I mean, it was the best they've had. So yeah, I don't have any complaints about that one at all. I think actually they kind of set the stage for the Brock Lesnar and Undertaker match and really needing them to push the limits and up their game. And that's what happens when you have two Hell in a Cell matches on the show. The first one that goes on is kind of setting a lot of pressure for the next match. So
yeah, I have to agree. Roman is proving himself as an in-ring worker, which is good because he needs to. If he wants to be that company guy, he's going to need to show why he's able to do so. So
he's got a long way to go.
Oh, he does, especially on the stick. Seth Rollins defeated Kane to retain. This was underwhelming.
Not a great match.
Seth had a couple cool moments, but
well, he almost injured Kane again. I mean, this guy. We kind of talked about this before. How can you call yourself the best worker in the world if you're injuring guys? Cena, Sting, and now Kane too. He powerbombed him in the announcer's table, but he threw him on the edge instead of the middle, taking the impact. And so Kane's back landed on the edge, and he was actually injured, but continued the match. Very sloppy.
I don't want to say that he's a sloppy worker because Seth Rollins is exceptional in the ring.
But his results aren't showing that, though.
Well, who is he injured again?
Cena, Sting, and now Kane.
And that's it, right?
All in a short time.
But he's been on the main roster for even since NXT, since what, 2011?
Okay, but we don't know about. I mean, we can speculate about other stuff. We don't know that for sure. What we do know is
on the
recently
record,
the dude is hurting a lot of people.
On the record, he's not. And look at who he used to face and who he faced primarily during the beginnings of his main roster ascension to the top. The good wrestler, like the good established indie guys that can work with Rollins, have never in the WWE gotten hurt from him. It's the older veterans who can't work as much that Rollins has injured accidentally. So what does it say?
Okay, but Cena, that had nothing to do with Cena's nose.
Oh, come on. He's a broken nose. He was fine. Nothing.
He's fine. The nose was on the side of his fucking face.
Oh, he missed, 2 weeks. He's okay. And plus, it ended up being a cool storyline where he need him again, and WWE took advantage like they should have. But my point is, the guys that he's worked with, the indie guys, the ones that can work as well as he can, he is never hurt on WWE property. But it's the older guys that can't move as well that he is hurt. Maybe he should be paired up with better talent. Inadvertently, I make sense. But yeah, match underwhelming for sure. Last but not least, Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker. I love this match. There was blood, and I'm not like a you must bleed every match kind of guy, but it added to the story, and I enjoyed it. I'm glad they had the match. Now it's over, and after that was done, the Wyatts provided a really cool moment.
Yeah, I didn't think their feud climaxed into the need for a Hell in a Cell match to begin with, but I thought the type of match they had where there was no rules and, they could kind of, that kind of, I think that sort of a match benefited them. It made it a lot more entertaining than a normal wrestling match would be between them. And I thought it was the best match of the three that they've had here recently. They've had a Hell in a Cell match before, which WWE, they didn't fully acknowledge. They said, Brock Lesnar has been inside Hell in a Cell once before and won. They just failed to mention he beat The Undertaker. So, yeah. But anyway, I thought also this was an instance where blood added to the drama of the match.
Of course it did.
Lesnar needed 9 staples to close the cut on his head. I mean, they did 100% intentionally bleed.
But he did not blade. Let's make sure that's well known. There was no blade involved.
Wow. I mean, whether it's a blade or whether you intentionally do it the hard way, I mean, the whole point is you're trying to juice, you're trying to get the blood. So I think that's really the intent is there either way. But I thought it added in this case to the match, and I was okay with it.
I was okay with it too. Sometimes you need to have something like that to really enhance the story. Yep. And I'm glad they decided to do it. So that was Hell in a Cell. What would you give it out of? I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. There were a lot of good moments, but then there was a lot of boring moments.
7 out of 10.
Okay. Just Rollins and Kane didn't do it for me. I was kind of mad that it didn't.
Well, I'm glad it's over. I mean, that's the one good thing about it.
Yeah, I know. I 100% agree. Well, moving on to the hit or miss portion of Monday Night Raw. First, let's start with hit or miss. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon telling us in their promo to open Raw that Hell in a Cell featured the next generation of talent. It didn't.
This was a miss for me, I gotta say.
It did.
And it sounded like classic WWE spin because, I mean, they're actually in a situation now where they have to feature some younger talent. But let's just be clear here. The pay-per-view featured a main event between a 38-year-old man and a 50-year-old man, a 48-year-old man in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, and two guys who are 43 and 44 years old, respectively, in the WWE Tag Team Championship match. So to say that, Hell in a Cell featured the next generation of talent, well, I guess if they think Lesnar, Taker, Kane, and the Dudleys are the next generation of talent, okay, I guess so.
It had the New Day. It had Rollins and Owens.
Owens is in his 30s.
But he's technically next generation. And
okay.
He is. And Charlotte. So that's what? 4 identities? But technically 7 people. And I wouldn't say, and one of them wasn't even there. Xavier Woods got married over the weekend. So I don't agree with that at all. With Ambrose.
Don't you feel bad?
That what? Yeah,
I told about it on Twitter.
I did.
Told about it on Twitter, and I said, "Hey, he's kind of getting married this weekend."
Hey, look, at least he didn't die or anything. I mean, that would have been awful. I would have felt like a dick, but he did. Everyone's fine. In fact, he's happy, so that's cool. Oh, by the way, they had Reigns and Wyatt. Sorry, but one of their best young talent, as a yawn, was in the pre-show. No, they did not. They did not feature the next generation of talent. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, hit or miss. Paige turns heel again. Before you get into what you want to say, because I know you want to.
I did this just to get you going, too.
I know, by the way. But luckily I'm tired, so I'm not going to go as much as you think. All right, so where is it? I texted you somewhere, didn't I? No, did I?
No, you did.
I did. All right. I said team, and this is before the segment started, okay? Team PCB is back. Ha, 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 ha. and then before Brad could even respond, I said, oh, good. This is such bullshit. And Brad responded, LOL. So ridiculous. And I say, she turned heel a month ago. Everyone forgot, I guess.
Yeah.
So
we've all got short memories.
You have the floor.
Yeah, it was a miss for me, obviously. It was more the same stupid Divas booking that we've come to know. And, the crowd actually cheered for Paige, just as they did during the Paige bomb. So you kind of have to ask yourself, is she really the heel here? Or is she being cheered by the audience as kind of an anti-diva because the fans are supporting her because they're not a fan of the way the Divas are currently being booked in the main roster?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So she does the Paige bomb and talks shit on everybody. Then 2 weeks later, she's still teaming with them at live events and on Raw. I'm like, okay, so clearly they're just forgetting that Paige bomb ever existed.
Well, no, they're just catty women. They're just catty bitchy women. That's how they book them. And they have their fights and then they make up, and then they have their fights and then they make up, and they're catty towards each other.
Yeah. But. You don't. Okay, first of all, your second best wrestler, Becky Lynch, is being treated like a clown, and I'm sick of it. Sasha Banks wasn't even on the fucking show. Why isn't your best women's wrestler in your company on your fucking show? What? So they don't know what to do with Sasha Banks? Fuck, creative doesn't know what to do with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, they see that. They see the money in Charlotte. Apparently, Interestingly enough, she actually had responded to Ronda Rousey, who said she would like to be a Divas champion one day. And Charlotte responded on Twitter basically telling her, bring it anytime, anywhere. And Flair said in interviews for a while now that he believes his daughter Charlotte could take Ronda Rousey. So,
all right, in a real fight, Rousey would kick most men's asses. So let's put that there. But going back to where I'm serious. Where is Sasha Banks? There are We Want Sasha chants every single show now. Which is, have we had a We Want blah 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 for a woman in the last 10 years? No, I don't think so. Not even Trish and Lita got "We Want Trish" or "We Want Lita" chants. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there were. But the WWE says that they listen, and I've been a supporter of them since I was 14. I still am. They treat me well. I treat them well. But you're not. Two of your best people are not on your fucking show, unless you're in a backstage segment giving your best friend a fist bump.
Well, and they might not be on the show after Naomi. Oh boy, I don't know if you.
Good, good for her. Good for her. They're sticking to her guns because what is going on with the writers is awful. And I honestly, our next hit or miss portion was the quality of Raw compared to recent shows. I liked Raw last Tuesday the other night. I thought it was better. The ratings didn't show it, but I thought it was better. Much better than what they've been doing. It had a different feel, a different presentation. I actually enjoyed Monday Night Raw. The main event was great. I liked the concept of each winner goes into a fatal four-way. The winner takes on Rollins. I enjoy the writing. But then again, you don't have two of your top 5 best workers on the show. And Naomi, who, uses her ass as a finisher. That wasn't her decision. That was clearly somebody else's. But she did, and honestly, it really was.
We can only hope so.
Naomi's athletic. She has a good background. She's a company person. So, of course, she's going to do exactly what they tell her. Natalya is the same way. But here's the difference. Natalya, to my knowledge, has never been pissed about where she has been. And if she has, she's never let it be known. Naomi is letting her frustrations be known. Right. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But the fact that fucking Dean Ambrose and Sasha Banks aren't on Raw in a capacity longer than 26 seconds is absolute crap. And if they okay, burp. See, I'm upset. I'm unprofessional. Right? I know. Tell me about it. I'm going to read you a quote from the rumor that was put up by Cage Side Seats, who are reputable, in my opinion, about Dean Ambrose. And I quote. Well, there was talk of Dean Ambrose being pushed as a top babyface in John Cena's absence. There's now even more talk of turning him heel. He's in a weird spot right now, and WWE isn't even sure what to do with him, unquote. Like, that's like saying we don't know what to do with CM Punk. Oh, wait, that actually happened. So this is a common theme.
Yep. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. You know, I thought as far as a show, I thought it was a hit. You know, not a big hit, you know, but I like the clean finishes and the freshness of the show without the usual suspects. No Cena, no Orton, you know, no Undertaker, no Lesnar, because it forced them to do something a little different. But with that being said, a true new generation of talent wouldn't necessarily feature a bunch of guys in their 30s like it did on Raw. You know, Alberto Del Rio is 38. Dolph Ziggler is 35. Kevin Owens is 31. Roman Reigns is 30. So, you know, when I think of new generation of talent, I think of guys who are in their 20s, guys who are just starting out. And this so-called next generation is going to be hitting 40 soon. So they've got to get that together. The rating was a 2.46. It was the highest since August of this year. However, viewership was down by 3,000 viewers. And here's a key. The second hour of Raw lost over 400,000 viewers, which is typically the type of drop-off we would see in the third hour of Raw. And I want to point out the 9 o'clock segment that lost 400,000 viewers plus was the Divas 6-person tag match. Your thoughts on that?
I really can't. I can't add much. It's not what people want to see. I think if a feud that consisted of only Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte were focused, there would not have been a drop. Rather, there might have been an increase in viewership because they've worked together. They have personal history. There can be stories that can be written to get the fans invested in these characters because that's what a show's about. Even if we segue over to sitcoms or dramas, there's a certain way to write it. And it's honestly the same concept. If you write it well, people will come back. I don't care if you're writing Breaking Bad, Two and a Half Men, Frasier, or Full House. And those are all of just totally different sides of the spectrum of television and writing it. If you write it well, people will come back. Why do you think How I Met Your Mother, The Office, Parks and Recreation, Friends, Full House, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Home Improvement, Breaking Bad, I could keep going. Why do you think they had successful careers or a successful career if they're still going on right now? Because people wanted to watch it. And since 1990, Monday Night Raw has been a program that people have been able to coexist with and watch, no matter how long or through how much frustration they feel. They've always came back to watch. That's not happening anymore. There are problems now. And there was a good quote that I saw yesterday. I don't remember who it was from, but I'll read it anyway. You can't have a man that's 70 years old run a company geared towards 15 to 36-year-olds. That, my friend, would be like a 70-year-old running the company of Apple. It doesn't make sense. Because
right now, you're right. Right now, the booking it's all to appease a 70-year-old man. That's exactly what it is. It's all to appease and amuse a 70-year-old who thinks things like a farting gimmick is funny and is going to help someone or going to help ratings. That was Natalia, if you remember.
I do.
Unfortunately. Or diarrhea, or the dumbest shit, or pretending to pull stuff out of JR's ass. I mean, it could go on, but it's just not funny. It's not going to draw ratings, and they've got to start writing for their audience and not for a 70-year-old.
And do you think that's where NXT gets it right? Because they write for the 15 to 36 audience.
Yeah, and there's really no Kevin Dunn or Vince. I think that's a big part of it.
How old's Kevin Dunn?
I don't know. How long does a beaver live?
Enough to chuck a lot of wood.
Yeah, he chucks a lot of wood.
Here, I'll look it up right now because I'm just curious. But you get what I mean, though. You just can't have someone that's out of touch, and I don't want to admit he looks like an idiot. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Well, no, I'm being serious now. I don't. It's just not logical, and I love Vince McMahon. I love what he's created, but there's a time when you have to say goodbye.
Sure.
And whether that's a TV anchor that's overstaying his welcome in the news business, or if it's a play-by-play announcer losing his touch and wants to step aside from the microphone when it's appropriate, or when it's
a website owner who doesn't understand how to, manage writers.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can even go to the extent of a CEO not understanding their customers anymore. Honestly, if Steve Jobs were still alive today, 10 years from now, so in 2025, he would have been in the 70 to 80 range. You bet your ass he would have left. Either that or he would have been pushed out because they're not making enough sales. If the company of Sony were to have a CEO that's 80, like, come on. It doesn't make any sense.
Let's put it this way. What CEO has been in power that long with those declining results?
I don't know.
Name one. There isn't one. Besides Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
That's it?
That's it. Okay. With that being said, we move on to our Nature Beer Drunk Flair Stumble of the Week.
Paige, you are a bitch. How can you do this to my daughter? Hey,
Ric Flair, I love you.
Yeah. Paige, you are the man. You're hot. Yeah. Let's do a figure 12 on Paige. I'll do it to her face. I'll face fuck her, and it'll be a figure 12. Paige, vagina, I love. Charlotte, I'm sorry. You're going to have a stepsister with Paige.
Yeah. So it's clear to me that the drunk Flair stumble of the week has to be the. I'm trying to think of a really good word here. The disallowance of Sasha Banks and Dean Ambrose from the show, completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. You.
God damn, Sasha's short.
You know what's funny? This was Vince McMahon's backstage reaction to Bayley and Sasha Banks' match at NXT Brooklyn. Did you watch the match?
I did.
Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Out of 10 stars, what would you give it?
The Brooklyn Takeover show, that was their first match, right?
That was theirs. Yeah, actually, yeah, it was. It was their first one.
Yeah, it's the greatest women's match I've ever seen in WWE.
All right, so this is from What Culture, who I hate. Either way, this is what Bayley said Vince McMahon's quote was. Not a quote, but rather a reaction to the match. After the match, Vince McMahon shook both our hands.
Wow, overwhelming.
That's it. And there is a dissension between what NXT wants their women's wrestlers to be and what WWE wants their divas to be. Well, NXT doesn't call them divas. And this is on Chris Jericho's podcast, if you don't believe me. Sasha Banks, whenever she came into the company, along with like Paige, I'm sorry, not Sasha, Summer. They told them to wrestle like divas, like pull hair, slap, hit the chest. And Sasha's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. This is what I was. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
The way they have Nikki Bella dressing. I mean, who can take it seriously? A wrestling contest when you've got Nikki Bella dressed like her, I don't know, sweater kittens are about to pop out any moment. Her ass cheeks are hanging out. It's just, you can't really take that seriously when you sexualize her. It takes away from the athletic contest of the match, and it sends a wrong message. And so you can't take that seriously when they, have that appearance. So
I know, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do, but not having people like Ambrose or Sasha a focal point of your program is just completely asinine. I can't justify it one bit.
Yep. So my stumble of the week was WWE failing to capitalize on Dean Ambrose on Raw. So big surprise there. But for someone who hasn't been booked very well, he's still very over with the fans organically.
Yeah.
With guys like Cena off the show, they had a real chance to showcase him, and instead they chose to showcase Reigns and only use Ambrose to give him a pep talk in a backstage segment.
Reigns wasn't that bad, though. You had to give him credit.
In a backstage segment with editing and not live, yeah, of course he was okay. I mean, it was nothing great, but that's a very different ballgame when you can edit stuff versus live.
I know.
Yeah, he's terrible on live. There's just no other way to put it.
I think that's why his promo was so short. You know what I mean?
But they've got to stop. They've got to stop giving him a microphone and sending him out there live.
Oh, Vince and Don don't know what else to do. It's simple as that. They don't know what else to do. Neither do I. How about how to end this podcast? Well, that's going to do it. That's been about an hour. You have anything else to say, sir?
I guess, yeah. So thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. We do appreciate it. You can give me a follow on Twitter at @TheBradShepard, BradShepard for news and an honest perspective on wrestling. Also, you can give us feedback on the show as well. If you like what I did, let me know. If you hate what John Fisher did, let me know.
Of course.
And speaking of John, you can also follow television and news icon John Fisher. Take it away, John.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at John Fisher IQ, just how it sounds, IQ. Be sure to join in on the conversation, follow all the updates. Kurt Angle signed with Bellator. That's fun.
I just hope he's not fighting.
He's not. It should be just for the Fan Fest.
Well, this appearance is for the Fan Fest, but why pay him to do that if you're not going to follow it up with a fight? I mean, Ken Shamrock's been tweeting a big announcement coming up. There's some speculation it could be an Angle Shamrock fight for Bellator. Let's hope not. We don't need that.
No, we don't. We don't want Angle. He might die in the ring. It's true.
Yeah.
From Vince's perspective. But either way, do you have any final remarks, sir? Because next week we're going to be talking about NXT, Raw. If they've used Dean Ambrose, we should have a countdown clock, or rather just a timer, and see how long Dean Ambrose goes without wrestling a match or cutting a promo on Raw.
That would be interesting.
It kind of would, wouldn't it? I came up with that on the spot too.
Yeah.
So as of, I would say, 8 o'clock p.m. This past Monday, the 26th, we're starting a countdown clock for how long it takes the WWE to use Dean Ambrose in a promo or match on Raw. Let's see how long that lasts. How long do you think that'll last for?
Longer than it should.
It shouldn't last like anything at all. It should be a weekly thing.
Speaking of Dean Ambrose, I'm going to plug my shit here.
Go for it.
I have part 1 of my Road to WrestleMania and WrestleMania 32 fantasy booking article. It has just been posted this week on pwinsider.com. pwinsider.com. Read my article, fantasy booking. Main event, I've got Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Triple threat for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Boom.
I agree. And we'll talk about how you're going to be wrong because Ambrose isn't going to be used at all. Let's face it. Let's face it. Until then, we will talk to you all next week. Be safe and follow me on Twitter.
Me too. Peace.